activate.
Hey everybody, welcome to This Pink Cloud. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. There we go. I just got to get it ready.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
We are a show that is about recovery, multiple pathways. It's not sad.
It is sad when you explain it.
Well, all right.
Man.
Then here, you explain it, Chad. What are we? What are we, Chad?
Hey guys, welcome to This Pink Cloud. My name is Kelly Reverb. I am super fucking cool, and we are a show about recovery and multiple pathways because we are super cool.
Oh, is that what I do?
Yeah, that's what you do, dude.
Nice.
I just cut in and say, "Oh, I'm super cool."
Yeah, dude. I
You
said
should
we,
know
dude.
me. You should know me.
Intermittently, I just say,
Yeah.
we're
I
cool.
said we, dude.
We.
Even my inner child
Anyway,
is a badass.
anyway, yeah, be sure like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're streaming on all major platforms, just in case you're a Spotify or Apple person. But
That was for Apple.
Other than that, sitting next to me, Mr. Chad Lamons, everybody.
Hey guys, Kelly Reverb here.
Okay,
good to see y'all.
Hey, so dude, that music, dude, is kind of apropos with the angelic music because last time we shot, dude, you and I are sitting here or downstairs, and you're like, oh, dude, I feel like I'm on a train, and
Yeah, I literally felt like a flag blowing in the wind.
right, and then you go, yeah, it must be my blood pressure. And I go, well, I could take you to the ER because we're by Parkland. And you're like, nah, I'll just go down to McKinney General because you live in McKinney. But so you get to the ER, and then what happens?
So, I mean, it had started when I went to the Tool concert.
Yeah, on Friday. That Friday before.
Which is like
That'll do
4
it.
days before.
Yeah, so it was Tuesday, and you went to Tool on Friday. And
Or
you
so
were,
like 5 days, yeah, or
Yeah.
whatever. So, yeah, it was started then, and I had a real bad headache, and I was throwing up. And I know when you have a bad headache and you're throwing up, it's generally it's your blood pressure, for me anyways. So that happened. The throw up didn't make me feel any better, but then I took some aspirin, and then we were riding the train down to Tool.
Right.
As I was like, I feel like I'm standing on a train. I felt like just like lightheaded.
Right.
Like a train platform, I only have one leg, and it felt like things were moving beneath both my feet, which is
Sure.
very weird. Feeling.
Right.
So I knew something was wrong, but I'm not missing Tool. I'm just not missing Tool.
Of course. Dude.
If I died after Tool, I'd have been like, that was pretty
Right.
cool.
What a way to go out.
Or die during Tool.
Yeah,
I
dude,
mean,
what a
that's
way to
fine.
go.
Yeah, right.
Right at the
So-
guitar solo.
Yeah. So when I don't know, it's just the next couple of days, it was like off a little bit, or everything just felt kind of off a little bit. But
Right.
but then when we were filming,
but you are a former drug addict, so you are used to feeling off.
Well, I had
That's normal, actually.
right. Yeah.
I had endocarditis, and then they had to go in and like scrape or brush the heart valve, vacuum it, whatever they had to do.
And
to get the infection out.
endocarditis, for those that don't know, is an
It is
infection
an
of the heart.
infection in your heart
Right.
where it's stuck to your heart valve and it starts poisoning your body.
And it's
Wow.
basically a death sentence.
yeah,
kind of,
yeah,
sorta,
it is.
Right?
If you don't get it, like your chest cracked or whatever, they didn't have to crack my chest, luckily.
Wow.
So, but they were like, "Hey, you got to get a valve replacement in the next 10 years," and that was like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. You have a bad heart. Let me drink a bunch of coffee and blah blah blah, do a bunch of dumb
Right.
shit." And then, so yeah, we were filming, and then, like I said, I felt like a flag blowing in the wind when I was standing still, and I was like, "Dude, something is not right."
Yeah.
So I drove to McKinney, brought my laptop in because
Yeah.
that was a great call.
Cool, because you
That was a
need
great
your
call.
laptop.
Yeah, dude.
Right,
I was
yeah.
gonna work on
Exactly.
music.
Right.
You know what I
There you
mean?
go.
Sure.
I ended
There
up
you
just
go.
watching Netflix. But
Right.
yeah, they do my blood pressure, and it's like 211 over 130 something.
Wow.
And then they're checking me for a stroke and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. And then, but I was stayed in for a couple days, and then the cardiologist came in because I was telling him about the leaky heart valve and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And he came in yesterday morning before I got out and was like, dude, I don't know what kind of stuff they did at UT Southwest, but they did a badass job. They were like, your heart has healed
that's
itself.
awesome.
Your heart has healed
amazing.
itself.
Your
Wow.
valves are functioning
Wow.
completely normally.
Wow.
Like you don't
Well,
have
dude-
to even, you don't even have to come follow up with me. And I was like,
Nice.
what?
Wow.
So that's a
That's
miracle.
awesome.
Well, so
That's
I mean,
amazing.
I think honestly, like what you've gone through, period, is miraculous. Like how many? I mean, you've got like literally more than 9 lives.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you should have died from the endocarditis. All the times, all the drug use, and the years of it.
Yeah, I think it
then-
all boils down to that guy that reached out and said he was part of the Illuminati on Instagram.
Right. The guy that said he'll give you eternal life. And
He was like,
I got you.
he was like, pay me X amount of money, dude. and
Right,
You'll be in the
right.
Illuminati. I'll show you how to
Well,
do it.
so-
but
but-
no, it was God, dude. Like doing
Right.
for me what I obviously couldn't do for myself. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about heart surgery. I don't know anything about that.
Right.
And that's what I was worried about.
Dude, I would've
It
gone-
turns out it was just my blood pressure. I need to
Right.
get. Like,
I would have
in
gone
check.
straight.
Nice.
I would have gone straight to panic attack. So I don't know how you kept your cool enough to get from here to McKinney
Dude,
in
because
traffic.
everything happens exactly how it's supposed to. So
Right.
the fact that I was going
Yeah.
through that, that's just like 417. dude.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
When you
literally
spend
is.
days whacked out on meth, you're used to an experience like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. But
Having
hey,
a freight train is not new.
but we are glad that you're okay.
I appreciate
So
it.
yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I am too.
Thank you. Hey, thank you.
100%.
Thank you for not dying.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
This would've been a boring show
brother.
without
Hey,
you.
brother, you're welcome.
You're welcome. Hey, man, I know you're welcome. I just
Right.
want you to know how welcome you truly are.
So
dude.
so I guess the lesson to learn here is
take care of your health. Just
Yeah.
because you get sober doesn't mean your health is fucking great.
Exactly.
It means you gotta like
yeah.
do things.
Actually stay.
That's it.
Stay proactive. So
Yeah.
that's the message from that, I guess.
Yeah.
And then sitting in, you've kind of heard him talking. We actually do have a guest today. That was just something compelling, and really could have been gone wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I thought we needed to talk about, but. I'm glad that this guy made it today. He is a recovery speaker and a homie, a new homie.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Tim North.
Hey, how y'all doing today? It's really great to be here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
My story is pretty amazing.
Okay.
I started drinking and drugging when I was 15. By the time I was 20, I was traveling on a carnival in California.
Wow.
In 1992, I was in LA during the Rodney
Okay,
King
what
riots.
do you do? What are you doing for the carnival?
I was a ride jock, running the Rocco plane, the Tilto Whirl, and all that.
So you were a carny.
Exactly. I was working on my higher education.
Right.
It was fabulous, and it was college for kooks.
I like
it. It was
it,
great,
yeah.
man.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it gets better, man.
Okay.
The carnival actually fired me. Like
Oh,
they
nice.
said, you got to go.
Right.
Like when the carnival says you can't hang out,
Right,
dude, where do you
dude.
go from there, man?
Right.
That's I don't know what your bottom is, but that's a low point. So anyway, I came back. Thankfully, my mom and dad flew me back, and that was the beginning of about 6.5 years.
How
of
old were you
sobriety.
then?
I was 20 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, 20
All right.
years old. Came back, and the thing about it is drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, none of that is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's my wrongly chosen solution.
Uh-huh.
So when I got back, I thought it was enough to just stop using.
Right,
You know,
right,
I did the treatment, I did all that kind of stuff, and was going to a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
That was my social life. But the bottom line is, it came down to I just began to transfer addiction.
Right.
That was whatever it was that I believed
Sure.
would fill that hole in my heart.
Right.
Is what I did with all my heart.
Right.
And then when I realized it didn't, it was next.
Right.
So a lot of my skills and talent are born out of that insecurity and fear and need to be important.
Right.
Because I wanted to be the
Well,
best.
I think generally that people want to feel accepted and want to feel needed
Number
and
one.
want to have a purpose, and then it just so happens that alcohol is so readily
That's
available.
true. That's true.
And-
I've always wanted a porpoise. I've always wanted a pet porpoise.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But no, I think Chad's now on
We
his blood
got
pressure
Flipper
meds,
over on
dude.
camera
Yeah, right. But no, I think that's a big thing about people don't feel like they fit in and stuff like that, and then that's why if I have a couple of beers, guess what, man, I fit in, or a rail or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah, the first memory I have is the fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
And not wanting to be alone. I don't know where that came from. I just remember being terrified to be alone.
Right.
I remember one time my mom was out of town, and my dad had us kids make a tape of, hey, Mom, we miss you, and all that kind of stuff. So, play it when she got home. And I listened to that tape later, and I heard myself desperately crying, "Mom, please don't ever leave again."
Right.
"Mom, please
Yeah.
don't ever leave again." I don't know where that came from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know.
Well, I was a mama's boy too, so
Yeah, it wasn't about mom. It
Yeah?
was about not being
Not-
alone.
right,
And I
okay.
didn't really have a relationship with my dad. He was kind of obsessive, compulsive, perfectionistic.
Yeah.
And I was not going to satisfy that.
Sure.
I just wasn't.
right.
You know?
Well, so let's take it back. So you're at 20 years old around there, and then you get kicked out of the carnival.
Yep,
So let's
exactly.
take it from there. Like,
Okay.
So
Bottom line, I came back and I got involved in AA, and I was going to meetings. And then I started running meetings. I went back to school, got my high school diploma because I had dropped out several times. And then that was the beginning of an amazing. You know, I was.
So let me ask you a question. So you're in Minnesota when this is
Yes,
happening. So
yes.
you're in Minnesota,
Yes.
but then you wind up in the carnival
in California. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was
All right.
actually home, and a buddy of mine were just staying at a place
Right.
we didn't belong. We had
Right.
no home, and so my buddy's like, "Are you ready to go?"
Right.
I'm like, "Go where?" He's, "I don't know, California."
We're-
Sure, let's go.
yeah.
All
Running
right.
away with the
Yeah,
circus,
let's do
dude.
it, man. Well, that wasn't even the plan when we left.
Right.
We didn't even have a plan.
I like
and of
it.
course, I can't remember, that song, "Look in California,
Right.
feeling Minnesota." That's on the jams when we're on our way down.
Right.
So it was very
Okay.
appropriate.
I just had to fill that in.
Oh no, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So yeah, and again, I went back, got my high school diploma. That was my value. Then, then all of a sudden, I started getting into sales and construction sales, and I was working for a place called Budget Exteriors. And, it was amazing because I had done construction a lot, and as soon as I learned how to use my mouth to sell, I never wanted to swing the hammer again.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the bottom line is that it doesn't matter what's going on. If you're a kid, I started to become very successful. And then I had a guy named Bob Misquick, who was Vidal Sassoon's right-hand man in the late 70s and early 80s. He taught Europe, America, and Canada how to sell hair products. I was hitting on his daughter at an AA spiritual retreat, and he comes over, and he just starts looking at me. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Tim, and this is,
Right. This
Susie."
This
He's
is your
like, "Yeah,
daughter.
I know her."
This is your daughter.
He sits down, and for whatever reason, man, just a gift of God, this guy takes me under his wing
Okay.
and trains me how to walk, how to talk, how to sell, how to speak, how to carry yourself. And man, it was amazing.
Right.
God writes straight with crooked lines.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is that everything we've been through is a purpose for what we're supposed to do
Yeah.
to be a benefit to others.
Right.
Like everything I have today, you're going to hear about a lot of success, but don't hear me. Don't hear what I did. Look at no.
Yeah.
Hear about what God can do with a completely hopeless individual.
Right.
Because I struggled with bipolar, mental illness. Like I was as gone can be. Completely unemployable, completely and totally no relationships with family, nothing.
Right.
And bottom line is I ended up, I made a bad choice.
Right. Well, let's take it. Let's just take it storyline
Sure.
style.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Vidal Sassoon. I mean,
Yeah.
so this guy that does marketing for that takes you under his wing.
Yeah.
And then where does it go from there?
He introduces me to a company called Katie Telemanagement. And I go there, I interview with them. They hire me to be a telecom sales executive. In 1996, you could always resell long distance,
Right.
but now you could resell local.
Okay.
So I was a business, selling to businesses, doing the
Right.
door knocking. I mean,
Sure.
cold calling, all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And so I exploded, man. I went from traveling in a carnival in California, getting fired in 1992, to by 1996, I'm a corporate telecom sales executive, making like 75 grand a year.
Right.
Yeah.
But the bottom line
Are-
is,
now, all this time, are you like? I mean, is there any slip ups, or are
No.
Did you just straight up like have that problem and then you quit? And then was there any back and forth or
nothing. No.
Okay.
I'm all or nothing, bro.
Well, so
there's no.
What
there's no
was
in between.
what was? Let's dive into
Sure.
what was the DOC back then?
Man, it started off with marijuana, then moved into alcohol, and then moved in, got involved in crack and cocaine
Right.
and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But see, for me, I was a garbage can. What
Right.
do you got? That's my drug of choice.
Right.
It just
Yeah, yeah,
didn't
yeah.
matter. I was in so much pain. There was such an empty hole in my heart. I just didn't care. I didn't care what it cost me tomorrow to get messed up today. I
Right.
just didn't
Yeah.
want to
Right.
feel. I didn't know how to talk to people. I felt so inferior. And see, this is what's really important. I think people can relate to this.
Okay.
Is that not only did I feel like nobody loved me, but even worse, I felt unlovable. which means it didn't matter how much people loved me, because they really did. I couldn't receive it. I was like a cup turned upside down, and so it was impossible for me to receive love.
Right. Well, so you saying that, so how did you turn that around, and what was the process, and what helped to turn the cup right side up?
Man, I started going to this church, and unfortunately I stopped going to AA.
Okay.
I believe in church. Christ is my savior. But the bottom line is that I need to be around addicts.
Right.
I need to be around people.
You need your tribe.
I can't. People in my small group, I can't say, hey, I was whacked out on crack and broke into my mom's house. They're not going to get that.
Right. Yeah.
But me in a meeting, I got you, bro. I've been there. I understand. And there's compassion and there's love. And so I got out of what worked. And spirituality and faith is the base core of my life. But the bottom line is that I had to deal with my addiction.
Yeah. Right.
I can't just set that aside because I don't, I'm not using it anymore. I must not be an addict.
Right.
Yeah, but the reality is that the disease of addiction never stops.
Sure.
It's in the parking lot doing push-ups, hoping, Tim, man, please get some pride.
Right.
Please think you can do it on your own. Please,
Right.
man, come on. Just feel like you don't need those people. He offended you. He doesn't like you.
Right.
Man, tell him to fuck off. And, man, go do your own
Right.
thing. Get alone, bro. That's the solution.
I think
that's the solution, bro.
I think that's the dialogue.
Yeah, so
I think that's the dialogue in Chad's head every day.
Yeah, exactly. He's looking to get me out in the woods so he can rape me spiritually.
Right.
And it's what happens, man. When we get away from our crowd, when we get away from our crew, we start to forget that we have a disease.
Right.
Addiction is the one disease that tells you don't have a problem. You're brilliant. Everybody else is an idiot. Like, I'm homeless, broke, got no family. I'm giving them marital, financial, and advice to people and wondering why they don't want. I'm brilliant.
Let's dive into that a little bit. So you were homeless and broke at one point.
Oh, yeah.
So how does that, transpire? Because I usually do like a timeline kind of thing to paint a picture for the audience. So.
I got married, bad choice. Everybody told me not to. And after 6.5 years of sobriety, I relapsed.
Oh, okay. So there was a relapse.
Then, yeah, and at the end of that. But the bottom line is that for 30 years, I was a homeless drug addict living on the streets, in and out of programs. There was... See,
so I'm just painting the timeline here.
Sure.
So for 30 years you were a homeless and a drug addict, right?
In and out of programs. I went to Teen Challenge, Victory Outreach. I went to secular programs, Christian programs.
Well, let's dive into some of that and share your experience with them.
Absolutely,
so yeah,
absolutely. Faith is my core. Bottom line, God does for me what I can't do for myself. Talks about that in the big book.
Sure.
It's the answer, plain and simple the answer. But for me, it was a process. What I did was I learned all the rules, and I wanted to become the best.
Right.
Best at Christianity, best at sales, best at recovery.
Right.
I'd be in treatment programs counseling people in the middle of a session.
Sure.
Well, you know what I mean? Because I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm here, guys. I should be there. You're an idiot. Get the fuck out of the chair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so I would not receive help. And here's the bottom line core, and I think people might be able to relate, is I believed that I had to know everything. Like I had to be the one helping, because if I had a need, I had no value. I had a value-based self-esteem program.
Okay.
And so if I could not help you, I had no value. If I had no value, you were going to reject me. If you rejected me, I was out of it.
Well, that's kind of what I was talking about, like as far as everybody wanting to be accepted and
absolutely,
and
everybody needs a purpose.
validated. And
everybody needs a purpose.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs
I always talk to Chad about his validation because he needs that. It's like his,
man. I still even today it feels
like
good to get
new drug.
Yeah. Kelly talks to me about my validation, and then I talk to him about changing his fucking diaper. Yeah, dude.
Chad's hilarious.
I know.
So
Right.
He's got dad jokes all day.
I'm telling you. But what's funny is I always make that joke. You're talking about the porpoise and flipper and all that kind of stuff. I was like, literally,
you're stealing his material, dude.
I was in every program you can think of, and I got to the point where if you told me I would get sober by swimming with the dolphins, I'd be a fish. I'd have been in there.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. Everybody said they liked me sober. I liked me better messed up.
Right.
I could not.
Well, I think
feelings.
that's maybe because you had to deal with your own baggage, and your own.
You talk about sexual abuse and abandonment and all that kind of stuff. As a kid, you get completely twisted.
Right.
See, I'm just grateful that I didn't get caught up in some jacked up lifestyle because I would have accepted.
Well, hold on. You were homeless and a drug addict for 30 years.
More jacked up lifestyle.
Right.
Use the force loop.
Right.
All right. So, but you're right. The bottom line is that it could have been worse.
Right.
I remember as a kid walking around the streets and this van pulling up and this guy trying to get me in there.
Right.
That could have been the end of me.
Free hugs.
Yeah, free hugs. Here's a sucker, lollipop.
Right.
I got my special lollipop for you later. I mean, it's just
I've got a popsicle.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
gonna pop your sickle.
No,
Let's come on over.
I got a popsicle strapped to my thigh.
Exactly. I'm telling you. But
so how old were you when that happened?
I was like 10.
Yeah.
I remember sneaking out. I
yeah.
remember sneaking out at night and just.
So were you a deviant kid?
No, man. I was just a lonely, scared kid.
Okay.
That's it. I just wanted friends desperately. I was dealt with depression, fear, and anxiety all through high school. Up until once I started using and all that kind of stuff, I felt like drugs and alcohol were the answer for me.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. It worked. For a minute, it worked.
Oh yeah, it's the temporary solution to the bigger problem.
Absolutely.
But so when did you start using? Like what age?
When I was 15.
15?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, before that, I'd say my first drug of choice was sugar.
Bottom
line,
hey, that is true.
One of the
Straight
worst
up.
drugs there is.
Yeah. Well, alcohol's full of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Krispy Kreme I have to stay out of too.
For sure. No, I hear you.
I was mainlining them donuts pretty bad.
I feel you.
Fuck Krispy Kreme. They're the problem with society.
Exactly. It's not me, it's them.
By the way, let's throw to the Krispy Kreme commercial.
Exactly. Cut the commercial.
Hey, speaking of that, actually, let's do. We've got our buddy Max the Axe with Lone Star Injury Attorneys. If you go to thispinklawyer.com, it will take you to the website for Lone Star Injury Attorneys.
It might take you there.
It will.
It might.
It will.
It probably will.
It will.
Hey, you never know.
But anyway, so if you need some personal injury help, please hit him up at thispinklawyer.com. He practices in Houston and California. He's a sponsor of the show and a good dude.
And he has a cool name.
Get back to you.
And he has a cool name.
Max
I said it. Max the X. I said it before Kelly did. Max, if you're listening, I said it before Kelly did.
Sweet.
I'm doing that every show now, dude. So whoever.
Well, that's okay because I just edit it out.
No, you don't. You don't edit anything out.
Oh, yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
You wish you did.
Well, I'm going to edit you out
No,
right
you're
now. Every time you talk, I'm going to go in and just cut you out, dude.
It's just going to be me on camera like.
Exactly.
And looking like a porpoise.
Yeah, exactly. So
You should just put in dolphin fucking noises every time I talk.
That would be good. I would love that. So
we need that new sound effect.
Right? Right? Okay, so we've also got some new music out. And I think you've got it pulled up. I think
Maybe.
it sort of.
Maybe. I mean, I might.
Got a big old booty, and everybody says she's a fine booty. The booty is where the doo-doo is, boy. Put there by God, that's the garbage can.
Big booty, big booty. Bounce it, bounce it. Big booty.
Sliding against those rocks. I go through all this before you wake
we are back.
All
So
right.
that is actually stuff that we have on Spotify. That first song, if you go to Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff available on Beatport. And if you want the free remixes, just go to my SoundCloud. If you go to soundcloud.com/Kelly Reverb, it will be on there, and it's 100% free.
Yeah, and I think that Bjork one is like one of the coolest ones we've done to date.
You love that.
Yeah, I do. I don't know why, because we were listening to it on a trip because Kelly was just like showing me stuff. And I'd seen Bjork live, but I'd never heard whatever
You
that
had
song
seen
was.
Bjork live?
Yeah, I saw Bjork at Bonnaroo. It was
Oh, there
gnarly,
you
dude. She was wearing some sort of Hellraiser costume.
was
It was the
wearing-
weirdest thing
She was
ever.
wearing a goose outfit.
And all the drugs I was on, dude, I had no idea what I was listening to, but it was sick. But yeah, so we were listening to it, and then I just heard this string part. I was like, that needs to be the focus of a remix. And he was like, all right, cool, then let's do it. And
Yep.
then we did it,
There
and
we
it
go.
came out, and it's really cool. People really like it. They don't know
Beautiful.
the song,
Right.
but it's
well,
cool.
people from old people know the song.
Yeah, what did Liquid Todd was
Old
like?
people
This
like
is the
me
most.
know the
This
song.
may be the most random remix of 2022, 23, and 24.
All right, there we go.
And I was like, well, it had to be done, dude.
All right. So anyway, so back to Tim. So we were talking about you were, you homeless on the streets and all that stuff, and we've got the kind of the picture painted. But so what, what else? Where did we leave off with you?
We all have our war stories.
Right.
At
sure.
the end of the day, in and out of programs, in and out of treatment centers, in and out of the streets, off and on the streets, staying with family, all kinds of stuff. At the end of the day, I was chasing the dragon. It just didn't. I was always looking for that one more that was going to fix me, that was going to fill the hole in my heart. And that's
Right.
the thing about drugs and alcohol is we have this hole in our heart, and drugs and alcohol is like putting a stick of dynamite in there. It fills the hole for a second,
Yeah.
then bam, it blows. Now you need 2 sticks of dynamite. Bam, now you need 3.
Right.
And pretty soon you're a hollow, empty shell. And
Right.
there's
Yeah,
just
and a
nothing
lot of
left.
they used to say this a lot, and it's like putting a Band-Aid over a bullet wound.
Exactly.
Right.
And then you just need more Band-Aids, and then
Yeah,
eventually they
yeah,
get,
exactly.
Band-Aids suck,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Duct tape over the check.
Well,
edges.
I
You know
mean,
what I'm
look, but like you were saying, it's like you go through these experiences in order to, hopefully get to an end
Qualify
result.
you.
To
Exactly.
get to an end result where
Yeah.
you can actually help people.
Absolutely. So let's get into the solution.
Yeah, let's
And
do it.
every piece of my journey was my solution as well. I just didn't
Right.
know it. Everything I needed was already inside of me. Everything I needed was already inside of me. And so I think the first step, I had so much blaming, and it was everybody else's fault and all that kind of stuff. And I was down here at the Dallas Life Foundation. In 2005, I got here from Minnesota. I hitchhiked from, I caught 2 trucks coming.
Wow.
I was trying to get to Atlanta.
You were trying to get to Atlanta,
and
but
from
you made it to
Minnesota,
Dallas.
So people ask, how did you get to Dallas?
Yeah.
I was drunk.
Right.
And this
Yeah.
is where I ended
Yeah.
up. So I ended up at the Dallas Life Foundation, which is a homeless shelter downtown. And went into their program.
Are they
and-
still around?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Matter of
Shout
fact,
out Dallas Life.
Shout out.
I'm speaking there Sunday night, February the 18th.
I love it.
At
Awesome.
6 o'clock. Yeah,
Okay,
So
cool.
And I've spoken there a lot. I've worked a lot with the addicts. I was the assistant to the drug program director there when I was there.
Oh, okay.
Then the drug program director was moved to the kitchen.
What-
I became the drug program director.
It sounds like you come in and
Oh,
then you
yeah.
just kind of take over,
Here,
man.
The bottom line is it's true. I was
Yeah.
designed to be a leader. That's
Right.
what I am.
Yeah.
It's the bottom line. But I just didn't know that.
Right.
Yeah.
I was getting crushed. I didn't know I was supposed to lead because I was following.
Well, so let's talk about so you get there 2005
Yep.
and then you become the program leader for
Yep.
the drugs. So yeah, take us into that.
Then they were looking to hire a new one, and it really struck my pride because for 2 months I was the drug program director
Right.
at the Dallas Life Foundation, and I put in an application and they wouldn't hire me because I didn't have a diploma.
Right.
And I understand now that was a good idea. I wasn't ready for a position like that. It was good experience, but I was nowhere near ready. So my pride got hit when they brought in the new director, and I had to train him to do what I wasn't qualified to do. So that struck
Yeah,
my
that's
pride.
definitely
you know?
a pride thing. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
but anyway, I got moved into the intake office where I was taking money and helping people get checked in.
Right.
And after about a year, I got involved in this church. Thing was going well. I'm doing small groups. I'm still doing doing NAAA, all that kind of stuff. And I got called into the director's office, and as I'm walking down the hall, the finance guy had become a real good friend. And he said, "Hey Tim," he says, "they're going to ask you to leave." I said, "Excuse
What?
me?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, Kelly Love accused you of stealing." And I said, man, he goes, I know, but just know what's happening. So I go in there, and he said to me, look, you have two choices. You can go back into the program and lose all of your liberty. You can't go out of the building anymore. You can't go to your church. You can't do anything. Or you can leave. It's up to you. And so, again, God writes straight with crooked lines.
Right.
I walk out that day, and out on the dock, there's a guy looking for a CDL driver. I got a CDL. And he says he's got a place to live for me. So now, he never gave me the place to live.
Right.
But while I was there, I met this guy who was a volunteer, and his family was very wealthy. So for the first 30 days out of the homeless shelter, I spent in the guest house of an 8,000 square foot mansion in Turtle Creek.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I mean, but the bottom line, God has always done that for me.
Right.
If I'll submit and shut my mouth and do what I'm asked, man, he raises me quickly. Because I'm supposed to be, I'm not supposed to be a leader for me. I'm supposed to be a leader for others.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be, it's not about, hey, I'm in recovery. Hey, I'm in recovery. If you don't know I'm in recovery, if you don't know I'm different, I'm not different.
Yeah.
I don't have to convince you I'm a 250-pound white boy. There's just not a need.
Right.
If I got to tell you I'm in recovery, and if I got to tell you that you should take my advice, you really shouldn't.
Right.
The more somebody tries to convince me that they know something, I know they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I left, and that was the beginning. I got a CDL, was driving all over the nation, all that kind of stuff.
Being a trucker, it can be a slippery slope because you got to stay
It was
awake for
dangerous.
hours.
It was dangerous.
There's the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
trucker speed,
Oh, yeah.
and that's a real thing.
I didn't. For me, it wasn't so much the drugs; it was the women and sex.
Ah.
That was my. The drugs and alcohol gave me the courage to go get what I wanted, which was the sex, because that was I thought would fill the hole.
Right.
That was my
Sure.
main drug of choice.
Right.
Women
Yeah,
was
yeah.
my main drug of choice.
Ah, okay.
So
Right.
everything else was to get. We talked about earlier. Get me the courage to be the cool guy that could get the girl.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, I stopped truck driving because I end up at a strip club. I know I'm not supposed to go that direction.
Right.
So, and I'm in and out of programs. And I end up going, I'm leaving the Dallas Life Foundation. I went through that program like 3 times.
Okay.
I went to Dallas
How long of a program is it?
It's a year.
Okay.
It's a year-long program.
So you went through it 3 times.
Yeah.
Then. Okay.
Yeah.
And
it was a
now?
year and then 6 months and 6 months. They had, if you've been in it or in a recovery. It was the same thing with Teen Challenge. I graduated Teen Challenge in 2001.
Right. And then again in 2002, and then again in 2003.
No. But I did go to Arizona Teen Challenge. I did go to Dallas Teen Life Challenge. Great programs, man. Great program.
You need a Yelp review.
I'm telling you, I know, man. I just, if you want to know how not to do it, come down. It's,
Well, no, but I mean, I'm just talking about recovery facilities.
Oh, yeah.
And that's
yeah.
this one's 4 stars.
Exactly.
The username's recovery reviewer.
And
Right.
I always tell people, look, I don't care if it's Dallas Life Foundation. I don't care if it's Salvation Army. I don't care if it's your dad's house. God's the solution.
Yeah.
A spiritual awakening is the solution.
Sure.
And so you can get that anywhere, but that program gave me a year where I didn't have bills, where I didn't have anything I needed, and I got the opportunity to meet what I call my higher power, which is God.
Right.
And
right.
the solution for me came when I stopped blaming people.
Sure.
And a big change in my life came. I was out on the Dallas Life Foundation parking lot. I got my arms on the fence, and I'm looking up, and I'm like, you know what, God? Nobody put the pipe in my mouth.
Yeah.
Nobody put the beer in my hand.
Yeah.
It's my fault.
Yeah.
I did it, God.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I help.
Yeah.
I can't fix it, God.
Yeah.
I'm lost. I'm like 4th and long, and I'm not even on the field, God.
Yeah.
And so I said, please help.
Yeah.
I'm done. I can't do it.
Well, we talk about that a lot, like as far as like the foxhole prayer, and just man, it's that desperation of just like
that moment when you finally give up.
Yeah, and I can't do it, so I need your help. Yeah.
And the bottom line is that if you're the problem, my parents are the problem, the schools are my problem, my friends are my problem, then they're the only place the solution can be.
And we're fucked.
Yeah.
As soon as I admit I'm the problem, now I have a possible solution because I can deal with me.
Yeah.
I can't make you do anything.
Right.
But once I accept responsibility for who I am, and that's what the 12 steps are about.
Right.
1, 2, 3, I can't he can, I think I'll let him.
Well, and also I think, it's also dealing with, past trauma and forgiveness and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. And I
huge.
love that that's tied in with the 12 steps because I
Absolutely.
think a lot of people don't address that and they think just getting clean is going to solve their problems when I'm like, dude, deal with the baggage that you've got. And if you don't deal with that baggage, then it's just going to be like a cancer.
Yeah, the funny
Transfer
thing, you
addiction.
go into like a program, especially a 12-step program, and you're like, okay, cool, dude, drugs are the problem. Man, I'll do this shit, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And then if you actually start working and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Those things work.
Exactly. Oh,
I
yeah.
stopped using them
Oh, yeah.
the way that they work.
Oh, yeah. The
you know?
12-step work, period.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is I've been in programs all my life. I've been around recovery all my life. And I have seen people stop using a drug without a God or
Right.
without a higher power.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen anybody recover without a relationship with a higher power that the program gives you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just transfer addiction.
And sometimes people kind of refer to that as a dry drunk or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or
Exactly.
dry. Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's just if you're not happy, man, we're happy, joyous, and free.
I-
If you don't like life, why would you keep doing it?
Exactly, dude. Like I say that all the time. Like I didn't get sober to be miserable. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I already had that in spades. I didn't need the 12 steps to have life suck.
Right.
Yeah.
I already had that. And I love that about the program is, look, man, give it a year. I promise you, we'll refund your ministry if it doesn't work.
Right.
Your misery.
Yeah.
We'll refund your misery. You can have it back.
Right.
We'll even drive you to the bridge you were sleeping under.
Right.
But give it a year, man.
Yeah.
Give it 1 year. Don't date nobody. Don't do anything but work on you and get right with God.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I tell people a lot. I'm like, they're like, oh, dude, I don't know if I can do this for X amount of time, and I'm like, dude, okay, cool. Well, let's say you're planning on being sober for a year.
Yeah.
Let's say you live to 70. That's 1/70th of your fucking life
Yep.
you spent to fix the rest of your life.
Yep.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
insane,
Absolutely.
dude. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
kids in treatment, when I used to work there, they'd be like, "Oh, dude, I'm not doing this full 90 days." I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
let's say I was like,
90
cool,
days is
90
nothing,
days,
bro.
I was like,
That's awesome.
let's say you live,
Yeah.
let's say you lived to fucking
Yeah.
80 years
Exactly.
old. You
Oh,
know what
yeah.
I mean? In
Oh,
a
yeah.
quarter of a year.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
get out of town, dude.
What I messed up in 50 years, I'm going to fix in 15 minutes.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we
Yeah.
want everything. We want
Oh, yeah.
everything back immediately.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, dude, I've been sober for a week,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
They should
Oh,
trust me
yeah.
with their car.
Right.
yeah.
I got this now.
Oh, yeah, I got it. I got it.
Right.
And that's your addiction's favorite phrase.
Yeah.
I got this.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm
got
cured.
this.
I'm good.
cured. I'm good. I don't need help anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and I tell people all the time, it's like, dude, look at civilization and look at like how long it's taken things to been rebuilt. Like Rome,
Oh,
they
yeah.
always say Rome wasn't built in a day. Oh, it sure as fuck wasn't, dude.
Right.
None of that stuff that's still standing by all those amazing people that built that back way, way,
Oh, yeah.
way
Oh,
before
yeah.
our time. That's all still standing, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And it didn't come overnight.
It was all alien technology.
Yeah,
Chuck.
it's,
Well, here's the deal.
especially the pyramids.
If it's 15 miles into the woods,
Uh-huh.
it's 15 miles out.
Right.
Plain and
yeah.
simple. If you've been messed up for 15 years,
Right.
it's probably going to be 15 years. Now, this is what I love. God can send a helicopter.
Right.
He can bring you back, but
Right.
you don't have the ability to make it faster.
Yeah,
Sure.
what was that? What was that? Chance, he always says that story. He's like, well, so there's this guy, and they're like, hey man, there's a storm coming. He's in his house, and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like,
Yep.
he's like, no, I'll be fine. I'm just gonna wait it out. Then the water gets up to like the windows, and then they come by in a boat.
Oh, yeah.
And
God's
he's
gonna help
like,
me.
he's like, dude, you guys, you need to come with us. It's getting real bad out here. He's like, no, man, God's got me.
Yeah.
And then it fills all the way up in the house, and then he's up on the roof, and then a helicopter comes by. They're like, come with us to safety, dude. It's
Yeah.
getting real bad. He's like, no, God's got me.
Yeah.
And then he ends up dying. And then when he gets to heaven, he's like, God, I thought you would help me. And he's like, dude, I sent you a truck, a boat, and a helicopter.
Right.
What
dude."
more do you want?
Yeah.
Right.
What more do you want?
Well, okay. So then you were like timeline wise, you were at, after the truck driver, then you got out of what was the place called? Like,
Dallas Life Foundation.
Yeah.
okay, and then just
I showed up in Dallas in 2005.
Right.
And then went through the Dallas Life Foundation a few times, relapses in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then went to Teen Life Challenge. And what was amazing is, like, I'm called to ministry. This is my helping addicts, helping
Right.
people like that. Like, I went.
Well,
to-
you're a public speaker, or
Exactly.
yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you do it a lot. So
That's what I do.
Right. Yeah.
It's
yeah,
my
yeah.
when I'm up on stage
Uh-huh.
talking to people, sharing truth and sharing help.
Sure.
It's the one place in the world that I know this is what I was made to do.
Right.
This is a lot of people. The number one fear is public speaking.
Yeah. Oh,
Number two,
dude,
yeah.
that was a huge fear of mine for a long time. Yeah.
Number two is death.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
most people would rather be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. I mean, that's crazy.
Right, yeah.
The bottom line is that when I'm up on stage, I'm more comfortable in front of 10,000 people
Right.
than I am in a small area with people that I
Right.
don't know or trying to communicate.
Sure.
But the bottom line is that when it comes to recovery, man, there is no shortcut.
Right.
Yeah, there's none.
Well, it's like what I say for the show. There is no magic pill for
No,
sobriety because
no.
if there was, we would all take too many.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pretty much we'd OD on it.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I get to the point where I'm living in the woods behind Parkland. And this is December 25th of 2016. I'm living in the woods behind Parkland, and I'm sleeping on some Pepsi crates with an air mattress that did not even inflated. And Rocky the raccoon saved my life.
Yeah.
This big badass raccoon was walking around that tent. I was terrified. And finally I was like, I'm done. And I walked over to Green Oaks, and I told him, look, I'm suicidal. I'm having a problem. I went through Green Oaks. Then I went into...
Said the magic words, dude.
Yeah.
I know. That's the only way you can get in.
Well, yeah.
Unfortunately,
For
it's the only way you can get in.
At
It's
least
the key card.
At least
Yeah.
for 72 hours.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they sent me to a program down south. What's the one down in South Valley, Dallas that's got the...
Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound.
Homeward Bound.
Yeah.
Homeward Bound.
Shout out Homeward Bound.
Yeah, they're awesome. I love them. I've done a lot of speaking there too. Carried
Right.
AA there.
Yeah.
And they sent me there, and I was there for a 3-day evaluation, and I was sure they was going to send me in a program because I was ready. And there was this great counselor, I don't remember her name, but man, she says to me, hey, there's no room in the program, so we're going to have to let you go today. I'm like, no, you're not.
Right.
She's like, what do you mean? You're not, I don't care. You're going to have to, I'm not going anywhere
Right.
until we have a solution, until we have a plan, until I got somewhere to go, I'm not leaving.
Right.
I don't care. I am done. I'm not living this life anymore. I'm not getting beat up by this damn disease anymore, period. I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I'm fucking going to make it.
Yeah.
And so they found this program called Crusaders, and I went down there, and it was a work to stay program, loosely Christian program, and I stayed there for about 90 to 120 days, and it was great, man. I learned how to work again. I learned how to be in community again.
Right.
And another one of those big moments for me was I was out on the back patio, and I'm reading my AA book, I'm trying to do the deal, you know what I mean? And this guy comes walking in the house, and man, can you believe this? I said, bro, whoa. I don't give a shit. He's not why I'm here.
Right.
You're not why I'm here. I don't want to hear it. Get away from me.
Right.
Man, this is the people pleaser, the guy that's terrified to talk and
Right.
doesn't know how to stand up for himself. All of a sudden, I got a backbone.
Right.
Man, that's recovery.
Yeah.
That's recovery.
Yeah.
So then I go through that program, and a friend of mine, Mike Walker, God, I love that man. I had gone through Oxford House and then relapsed. And then
Shout out Oxford.
Yeah,
Shout out
Oxford
Oxford.
House is
And
awesome.
Oxford House, just
Oxford
so
House.
anybody that doesn't
Oh,
know,
yeah.
is a sober
Oh,
living,
yeah.
but it's international.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Oxford.
OxfordVacancies.org,
Oh, yeah.
I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Fabulous. I cannot encourage you enough.
Yeah.
It's real life with accountability.
Yeah. Right.
You
Yeah.
live in a house
Built-in
with people that
accountability,
everybody's
yeah.
there trying to get right. You have
And
responsibility.
self-governing.
And
Yeah.
self-governing.
Yeah.
So I had been in Oxford. I wanted to get back in Oxford, and I wanted to, because a CDL in your back pocket is a guaranteed $1,000 a week.
Yeah.
It's my guarantee. Well, I had got a public intox, and somehow that got attached to my CDL. So nobody's going to hire me because I got an alcohol offense attached to my CDL.
right.
And I was walking.
Yeah.
So I remembered Mike Walker calls me, and he says, hey, man, do you still have your CDL? I said, yeah. He says, man, ABC Building Supply, they're looking for drivers. I'm like, hey man, I need to clue you in on where I'm at, bro.
Right.
I've got like 3-4 months sober. There's an alcohol offense attached to my driver. He said, man, just come on down.
Right.
So I go down there, man. Kevin loves me. The manager loves me. I meet the GM, Ryan. They love me. I give him my, and I'm honest with him. I'm like, hey, this is where I'm at. Now, ABC is the largest building supplier. They do
Right.
roofing
Yeah.
in the United States. And they've got like over 900 to 1,000 locations probably at this point.
Sure.
So you can imagine their screening process to
Yeah,
get
it would
into
be
a place
pretty
like that.
pretty intense. Yeah.
They hired me, bro.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
They hire me. Like nobody.
Yeah.
I was not
How did-
higher
yeah,
above.
right.
Again, God doing for me what I can't do for myself. And how that happened is, I remember I was at there, and I was encouraging people. I was leading there, and I was a gift to people there because God was through me. And I remember trying to get out, and I remember, you know what, God, I don't want to be here.
Right.
I said, but if this is what you have for me, and I gotta stay here forever, man, I'll do it.
Right.
I'll do it, man.
Yeah.
I give up, and then the next day I get that call.
Yeah.
Sometimes God is just asking you to quit.
Yeah.
What he has for you is what you want, but you got to want him more than what he has for you.
Sure.
You have to.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I get hired by ABC. I get back into Oxford House. I work there a year. I have a reaction to the chemicals. I end up in the hospital, almost died. I'm going to use the wrong word, but it's an acidophil count. I'm supposed to be at 100. I'm at like 10,000. I don't know.
Okay.
A lot.
Okay.
They're talking leukemia.
Right.
They're talking crazy. I've got these headaches that I can't, man, I just can't. I'm more pain than I've ever experienced. Like, they thought I was going to die. My mom flew down from Minnesota. They thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to die.
How old were you then?
I was, let's see, so that would have been, I was 6 years ago. So
Okay.
it's 48 roughly.
Okay, yeah.
48,
Okay.
yeah, 6 years ago. No,
right.
46, 47.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, and then all of a sudden, it's just gone.
Wow.
I'm healed. Man, God kicks the eagle out of the nest.
Yeah.
It's just, if you stay somewhere too long, he's going to move you.
Yeah.
His plan is going to work in your life, and you can either fight it or you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, we're all on this path, and you can be in the bottom of the ship with the boiler, or you can be in the penthouse with the captain.
Right.
But we're all going this direction.
Sure.
If you want recovery, we're all in this boat. Mm-hmm. And you can choose where in that boat you want to be.
Right.
One of my favorite stories is the guy, he scraped up everything he could to buy a ticket for this. He wanted to come to America. He wanted to come. He gets there. He's got no more money to buy any food or anything like that. So he brings he takes the last of his money, buys a bunch of peanut butter and crackers. Mm-hmm. And so it's a week-long trip. And so for like 6 days, he's dying. He's looking at everybody in this dining room, and everybody's eating this awesome food, and he's eating his crackers. And about the 6th day, some guy comes up to him and he says, "Hey, man, I've been noticing you. Why haven't you been coming to dinner and the meals?" He said, "Man, I can't afford it." He said, "What do you mean you can't afford it? It's included in the ticket."
Right.
It's included in the ticket. You had it all along. You
Right.
just didn't know it.
Right.
That's the same thing with us. We have recovery.
Yeah.
We just don't know it. We don't know we can make it.
Right.
We don't know we can do it until we get around other addicts that can tell us and encourage us. The best thing that we can do is be in a room and have recovery.
Yeah.
Show up, man. Just show up. It doesn't matter. If you fill a seat and it's your turn to speak and you give credit to the program and God who got there, there's somebody's got, matter of fact, I spoke at, you saw the birthday night, but I spoke at the Fix 30 days earlier than birthday night. And I saw this girl out front, and I'm just talking to her. I say, "Hey, man, I don't know why, but I feel like God wants me to just tell you you're going to make it. You're awesome. I know you've had some problems, but it's going to be okay." That night, she was at birthday night, picked up her 30 days. She came up to me and says, the night I got sober the day you spoke.
Wow.
Now, I don't take credit for that. You know what I mean? I think anybody who God was using at that time, she would have had that experience, but it got to be me that night.
Right.
And that's the greatest gift in recovery. When you can be, man, I don't know what happens at the end of life.
There's so much like, Chad and myself, that you just can't explain, dude.
It's impossible.
And it's just like, it's nothing short of miraculous.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's no other word for it, really.
When I get to the end of my life, I'm not going to wish I made another dollar.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to wish I had another car. I'm not going. You know what I want to hear? Man, when I was at the end of my rope, you helped me.
Right.
Man, when I couldn't make it anymore, you encouraged me.
Right.
Man, I don't know how, I don't know why, but I heard you, or you spoke to me, or you just smiled at me. You made me feel human,
Right,
bro. And I
right.
got sober, and I got a life, and now I'm helping others.
Right.
That's all I want to hear. I don't care about anything else.
Right.
I've got a lot of success. We'll talk about that in a minute. I've got a lot of success,
Right.
but none of that compares at all.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about today.
No, but,
And then we're running out of time, and I'm kind of like the guy. And then when I was in third grade,
it's all good. Okay, so, but what we'll do is, I want to give people the opportunity if they're interested in having you speak because you do this on a regular basis.
It's what I do.
Yeah. So where can they get a hold of you to reach out to you to speak?
Absolutely. Tim North on Facebook. Eagles Landing General Contracting. I'm a general contracting. That's my company. You can email me at timothymnorth@gmail.com.
Okay.
And here's the deal. Whether it's a church, a meeting, I don't care. I'm here. I want to share recovery.
Right. Yeah.
I want to share recovery.
Then you're all about
I'm all about recovery.
taking it to the people.
Oh, yeah. And
right.
the quick end of it today, I own a general contracting company. I do roofing. I do everything like that. I got a wife I met a year and a half ago. I met her on Bumble, married her 27 days later. Greatest gift God has ever given me, man.
Right.
Jazzy is
How long?
wow.
How long have y'all been married now?
A year and a half.
Wow.
This we got married July 29th. So
Right.
this July 29th will be 2 years.
Right.
She's my favorite person I've ever known. I'd rather spend time with her than any other person. Like, I didn't know what love was until I was never going to get married again.
Yeah.
I didn't know love was until, and man, not only do I know what love is, but I know what it's like to be loved.
Well, okay. So, and then obviously, yeah, if you want to give your shout outs, go ahead. Please do.
Man, first of all, Bob Mistwick, thank you for what you did to me. He died from the disease.
Okay.
But my wife, number one. And
Right.
God, number one, my wife.
A
the only one after.
close.
Yeah.
number
Very
two.
We'll do
right.
this one for God.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey,
And,
so so real quick, so like I mean, just nutshell, what kind of advice? Like, if there's like somebody probably comes up to you after you speak and stuff like that and says, "Oh, my kid is." Off the rails, doing this and this and this. So what do what advice
my best
would
advice
you
for
give?
parents or anybody dealing with that act is get out of their way.
Yeah?
Stop them. Don't stop them from hitting the wall.
Yeah?
Change only happens when the pain of staying the same supersedes the fear of change.
Okay.
We don't change until it hurts bad enough.
Right.
The last thing I want to share real quick is
Yeah,
a
of
poem
course.
called Addiction. It goes like this. I'm battling an evil inside of me. I'm fighting an enemy I can't even see. He comes as a friend and yet stays as a foe and brings my life to an all-time low. He's making me think that he's helping my cause, but he's stunting my growth with a deadly pause. You see, I fight for my life. Although at times it makes me think, man, it's no big deal. It's my strength and spirituality he is trying to steal. He feeds on my vulnerability and pain. And if victory is his, an empty shell is all that will remain. See, I lived in a world of pain and confusion. And the control that I had was all an illusion. But see, now I confide in the Lord up above, and he sends to me the strength of his love. With the Lord on my side, I know I can make it. All that's required is to be humble and take it.
I like it.
That was good.
That was good. Yeah, for sure. It kind of reminded me of a Men of Nehemiah thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've spoke there, too. I've been
Yeah.
a part of
No,
that.
I love. Yeah, we always love
They're
shouting
great.
out them. Yeah.
They're awesome. They're awesome.
Yeah, dude. But I mean, you are obviously very passionate about recovery.
Big time.
Yeah, man. I
Big
love it. I do that, and I love your sincerity and your, putting your emotions out there. You're very emotional and passionate
time.
about it, and I love
Big
it.
time.
Yeah,
Big time.
yeah.
There's nothing that matters to me more.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right.
I want to be of assistance to the one that was where I was and let them know that they don't have to stay there.
Right.
Yeah, and
I
I
know.
think one of the biggest takeaways, dude, is like the challenges you're currently facing in life are just setting you up for the victories later on.
Absolutely. I got great problems.
And for
today.
other people. Yeah,
I
dude,
got
all my
great
problems are
today.
fucking luxury
I
problems.
love my problems
My
today.
blood pressure and going to the hospital,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a fucking luxury problem.
I was
compared to being
alive
on the
to do it.
street.
We were talking about having 9 lives. Most
Yeah.
of us have the equivalent of 75 cats going on with what
Oh,
we've
yeah.
been through.
Yeah, for sure.
I
for
should have
sure.
been dead.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
never even beat up. I'd
Right.
never OD'd, nothing.
Yeah.
Me either, dude. Me either. I never OD'd or any of that stuff. And then it just, you
I
get to
cannot-
that
yeah,
point.
I cannot believe you never OD'd. Dude.
Yeah.
I just
yeah.
I just went to sleep and didn't have. I didn't know. I never OD'd. I just went to sleep for 5 minutes and didn't have a pulse.
And I did that weekly. Yeah, it's wonderful to wake up and see cops surrounding you and you just got there.
I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
hey, this is private property.
I don't
Hey,
know what's
what's-
going on.
what are you guys
doing here?
You don't want to
What's
say,
the
hey, I
big
just
deal?
got here. What's
Did
happening?
you talk to the homeowner before you came in?
That's funny.
I'd like to see your warrant, please.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man. Well, okay. So thanks again for coming
You're
out.
welcome. And thank you guys.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
well,
man.
I'm
Thanks.
grateful. This is I cannot describe the gratitude.
I want to
have.
come and see you speak. So where are
Okay.
you speaking next?
It's going to be at the Dallas Life Foundation on Sunday, February 18th at 6 p.m. in the chapel. Let me just verify
All
that
right.
real quick. It's
well,
6
this will
p.m.
probably air after that. So
What's
we
the
don't
next? What's the
necessarily-
next one after that?
Don't have one yet.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So you guys hear that? God damn it!
Yeah.
Y'all hear
well,
that?
I mean,
goddammit?
do you post about speaking engagements on your
here's
Facebook?
the deal. I'm going to take this podcast and I'm going to mail it out. I'm going
Do
to
it.
email it to every
Cool.
church, to
There you
every
go.
program, to everything in the U.S. I'm
Okay.
just going to start
They're
sending
probably
it
gonna
out.
be like, dude, tell that fucking Chad guy to quit cussing so much, dude.
Well, I don't. We're all real, bro.
Yeah. Well, okay. Thanks again for coming on. We appreciate it, Chadwick. As I always often say, I'm glad you're not dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you're welcome.
Me
Hey,
too.
brother. You're so
You're
welcome.
snazzy, bro.
You're
Right.
so welcome, brother.
Right. And
Hey,
then
brother, I just want you to know how welcome you truly are.
Hey, you're
Hell
welcome,
yeah.
brother.
Hey, no, you're
Hey,
welcome.
but coming up next week, I'm excited to have these guys. It is Ryan with Texas against fentanyl.
Texans
Amen.
against fentanyl. Yeah.
Well,
awesome.
close enough. TAF.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're talking about the fentanyl awareness and
horrible stuff.
yeah, all that good stuff. But other than that, be sure subscribe, like all that stuff, and remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety because if there was, we would all take too many.